Preparing for instructional rounds. We would like to thank you for partnering with the Wayne County Literacy Learning Network and Wayne RESA in this pilot of instructional rounds. We appreciate your joining with us in this learning process. Much of the work around instructional rounds is rooted in this text by Elizabeth City, Richard Elmore, Sarah Fireman, and Lee Teetle. In order to gain a better understanding of instructional rounds, let's take a moment and reflect on what instructional rounds is and what it is not. To begin with, instructional rounds is not a program. It is also not a single event, and it should never be used to monitor implementation of a program or any curricular resource. Finally, and most importantly, instructional rounds is not an evaluation. It is not about individual teachers, but rather about the collective growth of the network. So let's focus a little bit on what instructional rounds is. Instructional rounds is designed to support an existing improvement strategy at the school or system level. It is also woven into existing improvement practices. It should be focused on collective learning. We truly believe instructional rounds will have a positive effect on the collective efficacy within the schools where it is being used. It should also be focused on patterns of practice. It's a way to objectively describe and improve teaching and learning. Finally, instructional rounds is an active community of practice where professionals expect to push and learn from one another. Every member of the network should expect to learn and grow from this process. It is not about fixing teachers, but rather improving ourselves and the system. Instructional rounds is a comprehensive school improvement strategy. The school has already identified a problem of practice. This problem was chosen by the staff as an area where they feel increased focus or attention is warranted. As the network visits classrooms, we will want to focus our attention on that problem of practice as well. This leads us into the actual process of engaging in instructional rounds. Clearly, network participants will need to visit or observe several classrooms in order to gain a better understanding of what is happening within the school. We are thankful and humbled by the number of teachers who are willing to open their doors and allow us to engage in this learning experience. During the observation, no more than 5 individuals from the network will visit a classroom at any given time. Most classrooms will be visited several times by various groups from the network. During the observation, rounds participants will take copious notes about what is happening within the classroom. Observers will be paying close attention to what Dr. Elmore refers to as the instructional core. The instructional core is made up of the student, teacher, and the content, all of which revolve around a given task. If it is not in the instructional core, we will not be focusing on it during the rounds visit. Additionally, it is imperative that we record our observations as pieces of data and not attach judgments to those pieces of information. This is actually much harder than one might think, because we so often jump up the ladder of inference. Sure, we begin with an observation, but it is all too easy to take the elevator up to the level where we draw conclusions. We must instead try to go step by step. For this reason, all of Network A has gone through training that focuses on the importance of first gathering data from the observation. Once the data is collected and a person has had the chance to decide which pieces of information are worthy of sharing, then we move into sharing that data, making certain that our descriptions do not contain judgments and that they are not tied to individual teachers or classrooms. Once all of this data is shared, then the group will move into the process of analyzing or making meaning of that collected evidence. Only then, after much discussion and intentional conversation, will the network begin to draw a conclusion based on all of the data and experience within the network. This includes the experience of the school staff who are also serving as part of the network. To repeat, as the network visits each host classroom, there will be no more than 5 individuals observing at any given time. Teachers should feel comfortable carrying on as normally as possible, but we recommend letting students know ahead of time that there will be a group of visitors in the room. Our goal is not to disrupt the teaching and learning, but simply to observe the instructional core in action. While observing the classroom, observers will be describing what students do, say, make, and write. We will also do our best to capture what the teacher is saying and doing. Finally, we will be looking at what specific content and task the students are engaged with during our visit. A guiding question for our reflection will be, what would students know or be able to do if they did exactly what was asked of them? Once all of the notes have been written, each observer will have the opportunity to review his or her notes, checking for unintentional bias or judgment that may have slipped through. Additionally, each member will engage in a time of personal reflection as they decide which pieces of collected data are important enough to share with the group. Once each member has decided on the specific pieces of data that he or she will share, the information will be shared within a small group. Ideally, the small group will have visited the same classrooms at the same time, and therefore will have shared experiences on which to focus. This group will want to determine themes and/or similarities that emerged from this experience. Finally, each group will share the overarching themes with the broader network in the hopes of identifying clear themes or trends. By identifying common themes, we will be able to better focus on the real purpose of instructional rounds. How do we get to the next level of work? In other words, we must focus on what specific steps need to be taken in order to move to the next level of work. In other words, how might we improve? Again, it all comes back to the instructional core. There are only a few real ways to improve. If we want to increase student learning, changes must be made in the instructional core. The level of content may be improved. The teacher's knowledge and skill may increase, or there may be a way to improve student engagement. No matter which part of the instructional core we choose to focus on, it is important to note that by making a change to one area of the instructional core, all areas of the core will be affected. Final thoughts. No single visit can give us a complete understanding of what truly happens in a school or classroom. We are not investigating curriculum or written reports. Instead, we are only focused on the instructional core. This is critical because if you can't see it in the core, then it's not there. Another critical point to consider is that task predicts performance. We must focus our attention on what the students are being asked to do. All of this will help us determine what the next steps might be. Thank you again for partnering with us in this process. We look forward to working with and learning from you. We appreciate all you do to help all children achieve.